I never thought I'd be the guy writing a story like this, but here I am. My name's Jake, and I've been with my wife, Emily, for about 5 years now. We met right out of college, both of us chasing careers in the city, and everything seemed fine at first. She was beautiful, confident, kind of a bitch sometimes, but that's what drew me to her. We had a good life, or so I thought. We'd go on trips, have our routines, and I never really suspected anything was wrong until about 6 months ago. It started with small things. Emily started being more distant. She'd cancel plans at the last minute or suddenly have to stay late at work. She'd get secretive with her phone, always keeping it close, like she was hiding something. I tried to brush it off. Maybe she was stressed, maybe work was just piling up. But then I started noticing little signs that didn't sit right. She'd change her clothes quickly when she thought I wasn't looking, or she'd leave her phone on silent and hide it when I was around. One night, I was supposed to meet her at her place after work, but I got there early. I was in the living room waiting and I saw her phone buzz. She was in the bathroom and I couldn't help myself. I grabbed her phone to check the notifications. The lock screen was filled with messages from a number I didn't recognize, and it wasn't just casual chit-chat. There were flirty texts, talks about how good they made each other feel, and even plans to meet up. My stomach dropped. I read some of the messages, and it was clear they'd been sneaking around for months. I was frozen there, holding her phone, trying to process what I'd just seen. I felt betrayed. My mind raced. How long has this been going on? Who was this guy, her coworker, her friend? It didn't matter. What mattered was that the woman I'd trusted, the woman I married, was lying to me every single day. She'd been telling me she was working late, but she was actually with my own brother, Mark. That's right, my brother. I didn't confront her right then. Honestly, I just stood there, staring at her phone, feeling sick. When she came out of the bathroom, I just looked at her differently. Her smile was different, her eyes avoiding mine. I knew, without asking, that I'd found the truth I never wanted to face. My wife of 5 years, cheating with my own flesh and blood. The pain hit me hard, but I kept my composure. I needed to think about what to do next, but I already knew this was the kind of betrayal I couldn't forgive or ignore. After that night, everything changed. I couldn't sleep, I couldn't eat, and I felt this boiling rage building inside me that I couldn't quite control. I didn't confront Emily right away. Honestly, I was too stunned to speak. I just kept replaying those messages over and over in my head, trying to find some reason, some excuse she might give me. But deep down, I knew there was no justifying it. She lied to my face for months, and she was screwing my brother behind my back. That's a kind of betrayal that's hard to even describe. The next morning, I decided I had to see her. I had to hear her lie to me face to face, see how far she was willing to go to deny it. I called her at work, told her I needed to see her, that I had something important to talk about. When she arrived at my place, she was trying to act normal, like everything was fine. But I saw her eyes flicker with guilt and panic. I didn't waste time. "I know about you," I said bluntly, my voice cold but steady. Her face froze for a second, then she tried to brush it off. "What are you talking about, Jake? You're crazy. I don't know what you saw." "No, Emily, don't lie. I saw the messages. You've been cheating on me with Mark for 6 months. How long were you planning to keep this secret? Do you even care how much you've hurt me?" She scoffed, crossing her arms, her voice dripping with sarcasm. "Oh, please, you're overreacting. It's not like we're in love or anything. It was just sex, okay? It didn't mean anything. Mark and I were bored, we're both unhappy, and it just happened. Stop making this into some big drama. It's not like I was cheating on you emotionally. Besides, I never meant for you to find out." I was furious. How the hell could she say that? "It's not just sex, Emily. You were sneaking behind my back, lying to my face day after day. And my own brother, are you kidding me? Do you even understand what you've done to this family?" She rolled her eyes, a smug smirk on her face. "Look, Jake, I don't owe you an explanation. I don't want to be with someone who's so paranoid. Maybe you're just insecure. Honestly, I've been thinking about leaving you for a while. This just gave me the push I needed." That's when the rage really took over. I felt like I was about to lose control. My hands clenched into fists, and I could feel my face flush with anger. I told her she was a selfish bitch, that she'd destroyed everything we built. She just looked at me, daring me to say something else. I knew then I had to do something about this, but I wasn't sure what yet. All I knew was that I'd been betrayed in the worst way imaginable, and I wasn't going to let her walk away without consequences. After that confrontation, I spent the next few days trying to process everything. I couldn't believe she'd lied to me so casually, so effortlessly, thinking she could just brush it off. I kept replaying her words, her smug attitude, and that sickening feeling in my stomach. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her with Mark, and every time I thought about how she'd been betraying me for months, I felt this deep, burning pain in my chest. I knew I had to do something, but I didn't want to jump into some reckless revenge right away. Still, the idea of her walking away so easily after what she'd done made me furious. I started digging. I hired a private investigator just to get proof. Not that I needed it anymore, but I wanted to see just how deep this betrayal went. Within days, I had the photos and videos. Emily and Mark naked in our cabin the weekend we'd planned as a quiet family retreat. They didn't even bother to hide it. They were loud, careless, like they had no shame at all. Seeing the proof was like a punch to the gut all over again, but this time I knew exactly what I was dealing with. The worst part was how calm I had to stay. I couldn't let her see that I was falling apart. I started planning my revenge. It was clear to me that I couldn't just confront her again and expect an apology or some kind of redemption. No, I needed to make her feel what she'd done. I wanted her to understand that she'd destroyed her marriage, her family, and her own sense of self-respect. I didn't want her to walk out of this unscathed. I decided I'd reveal all of this at the right moment, in a way that would leave her with nothing. I wasn't interested in just throwing her out or getting a divorce right away. I wanted her to feel the full weight of her actions. I started talking to a lawyer, researching my rights, figuring out how to get full custody of the kids if it came to that. I didn't want her to take everything from me, but I also wanted her to understand how much she'd screwed up. Meanwhile, I kept my cool on the outside, but inside I was seething. Every day was a battle. I'd wake up angry, go to bed angry. I couldn't believe she was willing to throw everything away for a quick affair and Mark. I didn't care how much she denied it, I had the proof, and I was going to make sure everyone knew the truth if I had to. I wasn't going down without a fight, and honestly, I started planning the next steps carefully, coldly. This wasn't just about her cheating. It was about justice, about making her feel the pain she'd caused me, my family, and the trust that was supposed to hold us together. The more I thought about it, the clearer my plan became. I needed to make her see what she'd lost, what she'd thrown away for a few moments of sex and some stupid thrill. I was done playing nice. I kept quiet, pretending everything was normal, but inside I was brewing a storm. I knew I had to act carefully. I didn't want her to catch wind of my intentions just yet. I wanted her to feel the full impact, to see that her lies and betrayal had consequences far beyond what she expected. One evening, I invited her over, telling her I wanted to talk seriously. She showed up, bitchy as ever, acting like she still had everything under control. I could see the flicker of guilt behind her eyes, but she was trying to mask it all with that fake smile of hers. I waited until she sat down, then I let her have it. "I know everything," I said bluntly, looking her straight in the eyes. "I know about the affair, about you and Mark. I have proof, photos, videos, and I want you to understand this isn't going away, not without consequences." Her eyes widened for a second, then she scoffed. "Oh, please, Jake, you're overreacting. It's not a big deal. It was just sex. I don't see why you're making a scene." I shook my head slowly. "You lied to me for 6 months. You cheated with my brother and you think it's just sex. That's your excuse. How long were you planning this? How long were you screwing him behind my back?" She crossed her arms, trying to look dismissive. "Look, I didn't mean for it to get so out of hand. It was just a stupid mistake. Honestly, I was bored and Mark was there and we just— I don't know, things happen." That's when I finally let my anger burst out. "A stupid mistake? You call betraying your marriage and your family a mistake? You're a selfish bitch, Emily. You've ruined everything. Do you even understand the kind of damage you've done? To me, to our kids, to everyone who cares about us." She opened her mouth to talk, but I cut her off. "No more lies. I've seen the proof. And I'm done pretending I didn't know. You think you can come back to me, act like it's no big deal? I don't think so. I want a divorce. And I want full custody of the kids. You're not going to walk away and act like nothing happened." Her face twisted with defiance, but I saw the cracks in her facade. She knew she'd been caught, and she knew she'd have to face the consequences. I could see her trying to come up with some excuse, some way to spin it, but I wasn't interested in her lies anymore. I just wanted her gone, out of my life and out of my head. That night, I realized I was done being the good guy. The betrayal had shattered everything, and now I had to rebuild from the ground up. I wasn't sure what the future held, but one thing was certain. I was not going to let her get away with this, not without paying the price. And honestly, I was prepared to do whatever it took to make sure she felt the weight of her own choices. After that confrontation, I knew I had to follow through with my plans. The anger and betrayal still burned inside me, but I also felt a strange sense of clarity. I wasn't going to let her walk all over me, not anymore. I started working with my lawyer, making arrangements for the divorce, and preparing to take full custody of the kids. I wanted her to understand that her actions had serious consequences, and I wasn't going to let her manipulate her way out of this. In the meantime, I began gathering more evidence. I wanted her to see that I was serious about exposing everything. I hired the investigator to dig deeper, more photos, more videos, recordings if possible. I didn't want there to be any doubt left. Every time I saw her trying to pretend everything was fine, I just remembered what she'd done, and it fueled my resolve. I knew I had to be strategic. Revenge wasn't just about lashing out. It was about making her feel the same pain she'd inflicted on me, but also about protecting my future and my kids. One day, I finally sat her down again. This time I laid everything out, the proof, the plans for divorce, custody, everything. Her face went pale, and for the first time I saw genuine fear behind her eyes. She tried to deny everything, to spin her usual lies, but I was done listening. I told her I wouldn't tolerate her bullshit anymore. If she wanted to walk away, she'd do it on my terms. I also decided to confront Mark. I invited him over face to face. I told him exactly what I knew, how deeply he'd betrayed me, and I warned him that I'd do whatever it took to protect my family's integrity. Mark didn't say much, just looked down, knowing he'd messed up badly. I made it clear that I wasn't interested in revenge that involved violence or petty shit. I wanted justice. I wanted her to feel the loss, the guilt, and the weight of what she'd done. Meanwhile, Emily started trying to manipulate the situation, throwing tantrums, crying, begging for forgiveness, even trying to blame me for her actions. But I wasn't falling for it. I saw her for what she was, a selfish, lying woman who thought she could cheat and lie her way out of everything. I stayed calm, kept my plans in motion, and refused to be swayed. Honestly, I felt a strange mixture of relief and emptiness. Part of me still loved her, I suppose, but the betrayal had broken something inside me. I knew I'd never trust her again and that I'd have to start over, but I also knew I was finally taking control. I was finally putting an end to her lies and her games. Whatever happened next, I was prepared to face it. I'd lost my wife, yes, but I wasn't going to lose myself in the process. The days that followed were a blur of lawyers, court dates, and discussions with my kids. I won the custody battle without much trouble. What she did, combined with her obvious lack of remorse, made it clear she wasn't fit to raise them. That hurt more than I expected, but I also knew it was the right move. I wanted my kids to grow up in a stable environment, not one where their mother was capable of such betrayal. Emily tried to keep up her act, begging me to reconsider, crying over how much she loved the kids, how she'd change. But I wasn't buying it. Not anymore. I had seen her true face, and I knew that her love was just a mask for her selfishness. I cut ties with her as much as I could, making sure she understood that her actions had consequences. I wanted her to feel the weight of her decisions, because she had brought this all on herself. Looking back, I'm not proud of everything I did, but I don't regret it either. Betrayal like this changes you. It kills that naive trust you have in someone you thought was your partner, but it also teaches you to be stronger, to stand your ground. I learned that sometimes the only way to protect yourself and your family is to take back control, even if it means burning everything down first. Now I'm rebuilding. I focus on my kids, my career, and trying to find some semblance of normalcy. I don't know what the future Holds, but I've come to accept that not every story has a happy ending. Sometimes, the best you can do is walk away, pick up the pieces, and move forward with more caution and a hardened heart. The biggest lesson: never take loyalty for granted. People can surprise you in the worst ways, and sometimes the only way to reclaim your life is to face the pain head on and do what needs to be done. That's what I did. That's what I'll keep doing.